What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. I told you I was going to be doing a Smackdown review. So, here it goes. They start off with a Paul Heyman and Sami Zayn promo, where Paul Heyman basically ran down his recent encounter with Cody Rhodes on this past Monday Night Raw. He did, and how mainly he talked about how Cody mentioned how everybody want to take it personal, mocking him. He's just trying to win wrestling championships, and everybody taking it personal. And he basically mocked Cody and explained to Cody why everybody's taking it personal. He said, I thought you were smarter than that. I didn't think the son of a plumber. I didn't think Dusty Rhodes raised an idiot. You're coming out there. You want to take these titles from Roman, which make it personal for Roman, because he said without said titles, there would be no Roman, no Island irrelevancy, and no Paul Heyman, no Bloodline, no none of that. They chanted for Sami, and he said, "I'm gonna give you." He was also talking about like giving spoilers, and he said that Sami wasn't here tonight, and that the Island irrelevancy, has been attacked on two different fronts, from Smackdown with Sami and Raw with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Sami did appear behind Paul with a hood on, and he cut a promo basically telling Paul Heyman that the Bloodline days are numbered, and that he will take down Roman at Elimination Chamber. But this is not the last time we will see Sami Paul throughout the night, because pretty much the night was built around them. The first match of the night was Hit Row versus Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, the Banger Bros. It was a funny story. I think that was supposed to be the name of their tag team, the Banger Bros. But as you guys may know, why they can't be called the Banger Bros. But still, it's funny. But yeah, they even made reference to the fact that they were supposed to be called the Banger Bros. But they said they can't say it because it's due to copyrights and due to the fact that it's similar to a certain adult like website. But yeah, this match came about because Asante Adonis and Top Dollar basically was running their mouth off to Adam Pearce about not being able to face Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. So he said, you know what, you face them tonight. And they was like, wait a minute, hold on. We wasn't talking about but that was like, they showed that like an earlier in the day segment, and just pretty much was a squash match from the go. Top Dollar never got tagged in. They pretty much, Sheamus and Drew beat up Sante Adonis, and yeah, they pinned them. They just both hit their finishers. Well, he hit his finishers on Top Dollar. I did Top Dollar try to stop Sheamus from hitting the bro kick, but yeah, I think Asante did have some offense, but other than that, it was pretty much a squash match, and yeah, Asante got bro kick and pinned by the Banger Bros. There was a backstage promo where Karrion Kross talking about winning the Fatal 4-Way, I think that was like the main event match of the night. Basically, the Fatal 4-Way was supposed to be for like determine the number one contender for Gunther's Intercontinental Championship for next week's SmackDown, I believe. But yeah, Karrion Kross just cut a promo saying that he's going to win the Fatal 4-Way and go on to challenge Gunther. We got the next match, which is Lacey Evans versus an enhancement talent, which Lacey Evans pretty much squashed and won with the Cobra Clutch that she got from Sergeant Slaughter. And then throughout the night, because the next thing that happened was Jimmy from the get-go, I think pretty much starting after the Paul Heyman opening promo of the show, Jimmy been trying to get a hold of they were like showing different points, like segments of Jimmy trying to get a hold of Jay, because Jay still haven't showed up and nobody still haven't heard from Jay. And then throughout that was like in between, like in between the Hit Row, came across in the Lacey Evans match. They kept showing like Jay trying to get a hold of him because his match was getting closer and closer to the match. And this promo happens right before the match. Jimmy still can't get a hold of Jay, and he's basically talking to Paul, talking about what he's going to do. He don't know. He can't go out there and defend him by himself. He asks Paul for advice, and Paul Heyman I think it starts off with Jay frustrated. Paul Heyman like, so I think that I'll take that you still can't get a hold of Jay. But then he basically zones out because of what Sami said earlier, how he was in the ring with him and nobody was there to protect Paul because there was no Roman, no Solo. Jay is not there, and Jimmy is in the back still trying to get a hold of Jay. So nobody came out to the ring to help Paul if Paul got attacked by Sami. And that the reason why I bring that back up again is because in this segment, Paul was like, "Where were you when I was getting held up by a crazy Canadian?" He was basically wondering where was Jimmy. Why did he was out there talking about their family, and why didn't he come out to help him? And Jimmy said it was because he was still trying to get a hold of Jay. And then even Jimmy even suggested that Paul Heyman come out with him and help defend the titles. But that's what Paul said. It looks like you're gonna have to do this alone. But then he's like, you know what? You're right. Jay is gonna be here. I know it. And then thus the match in itself came to be, which is Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Usos for the Smackdown, not both titles, but just the Smackdown Tag Team Championships. Jimmy made his entrance solo while Ricochet and Braun made their entrance together, using Braun's music. They just came out to Braun's music. And doing like with the announcer, she's doing, since it's a championship match, she announced the challengers, and then she looked over at Jimmy, and Jimmy Jay. She was about to announce Jay as the sole person getting ready to defend the titles, but then Jay stopped her. He was like, look, no, wait, look, because the crowd started going crazy, and sure enough, Jay is coming through the crowd, geared up and ready, hugging, and he gets in the ring, hug his brother. They in solidarity as they about to challenge. They're about to defend the titles. So the match is underway as a full, tag team match, and this was probably one of the better matches of the night. Up until this point, the match on the match side, they could have been okay, but this would pretty much be. Other than the match other than the Fatal 4-Way, I can only say these was the best two matches. If I'm going to say what was the best two matches, there would be this one, the Fatal 4-Way. But yeah, the match was pretty good. Had some great spots of near falls, but in the end, the Usos took the victory. There was a backstage promo where afterwards, where Jimmy and Jay was talking, they was celebrating. He said, I got your back. I will always have your back. You my brother, you my twin, you my blood. And he was like, and speaking of which, Jimmy like, let me ask you, bro, you in the ooze or you out? What's going on? And he said, man, I don't know yet. And then just as you got a lurking Paul Heyman, he just in the corner somewhere. I'm like, what is he doing? He just sitting there, just in the corner like a weasel. And then he asked, Jimmy, what Jay said. And he said Jimmy pretty much kind of lied and said that Jay didn't say anything. He just left. And then we get to another promo with Natalya. She's cutting a promo on Shayna Baszler, talking about how Shayna injured her and took her out. For the first time, I think she said in 15 years, she was injured, and then she said that Shayna is nothing but second rate Ronda Rousey, saying she's always in Ronda Rousey's shadow. She's not even, and she came out to defend that, saying that, I'm tired of everybody downing my accomplishments and calling, basically saying I'm living in Ronda's shadow. Basically saying I'm second, I'm nothing but a copy of Ronda. And then she said I was doing all this before Ronda. She was fighting before Ronda. She was in rings like this before Ronda, and she was winning championships here in WWE before Ronda even made her appearance here. But she was called by Ronda Rousey, who got into the ring and it looked like she was staring out Zayn for saying what she was saying, but then they smiled at each other and started beating down Natalya. And then Sansi Blackheart came out to try to help, but she also got beat up. And pretty much, I'm like, what are they doing with my girl Shanti? They just made her look weak too, and she just got beat up along with them, and then they just left. It wasn't like they chased Ronda and Shayna off. They just left. But it was announced that it will be a tag team match between the four next week on Smackdown. I think they announced that during doing the how they use the announced stuff for next week during the main event. We got the next match. This was because in the backstage segment, Sonya and Chelsea Green basically was complaining to Adam Pearce about not being in an Elimination Chamber match, and Chelsea said, I don't know what they doing with Chelsea. Said she got management facial. No, she said facial amnesia. Basically, she can't remember people's faces after seeing them, and because that was her excuse of why she couldn't tell that the manager she was talking to complain about the manager on Raw was the same manager was Adam Pearce. He was like, no, yeah, it's me. I'm on Raw and SmackDown. She said, well, I don't know how you expect me to remember that. I got facial amnesia. I'm like, huh? Anywho, yeah. He put them in the match with two people who are in the chamber, which is Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. And that would be the next match right here. And this was pretty much an okay match. I wouldn't say it was one of the best matches. It was okay. They used Chelsea as the she's got at least right now this comic relief type character. She's not at this moment. They're not taking her seriously. And she just basically was like, she's almost similar to Eva Marie at the current moment, where she kind of doesn't want to wrestle the big name, she wouldn't want to wrestle like Raquel and Liv, but she do want serious matches and serious opportunities, but then she'll do something totally different like cowardice. But she's definitely a heel, and she's definitely her and Sonya and them took each other out. But in the end, Raquel and Liv got the victory over them by pinning. I think they pinned either Sonya. No, it was Chelsea. I think they pinned Chelsea. And then we got the main event, which also there was a backstage promo where Rey still talking about Karrion Kross and how he was evil and that he was going to win the Fatal 4-Way. But the Fatal 4, and there was one for Madcap too. But the Fatal 4 happened. The Fatal 4 was interesting because it was a good match, but the winner was interesting to me. But it was a good match between the two. Karrion Kross pretty much always was trying to go after Rey Mysterio. He went after other people, obviously, but he was mostly focused on Rey. Santo Escobar did his thing. But in the end, they gave the victory to Madcap. And Madcap, not what I like to call him Riddick Moss. They gave it to Riddick, but on top of that, he pinned Rey Mysterio to get the victory with an elbow drop from the top rope. It was very interesting to me to see them give that push to Riddick. So it will be Riddick versus Gunther next week, where Riddick would get squashed by Gunther. And then they end the show with Jay watching it from the backstage and Paul Heyman telling him that he would put him on the phone with the Tribal Chiefs, but there was no reception in the room, and that he told him that the assignment from the Tribal Chiefs is that he wanted Jay and Jimmy to stay home next week during his battle with Sami and Montreal in the Elimination Chamber, and that he want him, the reason why, because he want them to see that sometimes you notice things, sometimes you see things that you don't see, that you see things on TV that you don't see live. This was an interesting show. It had its moments. It wasn't like too noteworthy, other than just moving the most storyline it moved was the Bloodline, the continuation of the downfall of the Bloodline, and this the momentum with Sami and Roman going into Elimination Chamber. But other than that, some okay matches with two good matches. I would give this episode of Smackdown I'd give it a 6 out of 10 big ups, because it was an okay show. I wasn't bored with it, but it was pretty much centered around the Bloodline. As you saw, like I said, if you've seen the episode, it was just mostly like in between other matches and other stories. They kept showing Jimmy and Paul trying to get a hold of Jay. So yeah, it was okay. But you let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this past Friday Night Smackdown. And if you enjoyed this review, you know what to do. Hit those buttons and hit this button right here in the upper right corner for all of my wrestling reviews. And stay tuned for my reactions, my start of season 3 reactions. So, peace.